Welcome to the Medium in the Middle podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie, the Medium in the Middle. On this podcast, I share my journey as a developing psychic medium, as a Reiki master teacher, as an Akashic record practitioner, and anything else that's thrown my way. Hello, Middlers. Welcome to episode 156. My name is Stephanie, and I am the Medium in the Middle. Welcome back to the second episode of the new year. And I had a lot of ideas for this episode. I was jumping back and forth about what to talk about this week. I put a question box on Instagram asking, what do you want to hear more of on the podcast? And I got some really good podcast ideas from that. So I'm going to take one of those and talk about that today. But before we jump into that, I pulled a card from the Kyle Gray Angel Guide Oracle deck, and I always ask, what do the listeners need to know whenever you listen to this episode, so whenever it finds you in your ears. And as always with any message, any spiritual message, take it if it fits, leave it if it doesn't, don't force it. So this week I pulled the card Joy and Contentment. Be here now. Enjoy the present moment and all of the positive experiences that have unfolded and are continuing to unfold. A wave of contentment is washing over your life. Contentment is about taking time to reflect on your situation, enjoy the moment, and trust that you are always being guided. Your angel team is encouraging you to follow your heart now. Do what makes your heart and soul sing. Do what makes you smile, dance, and rejoice in the glory of life. Your angel guide is encouraging you to live your joy fully. Know that your ultimate purpose is to live joyfully, and through the expression of your joy, you will reach a state of bliss and contentment. Happiness is the key to inner peace, and you are being given an opportunity to experience it now. Ooh. So I actually pulled this card yesterday, and I don't like to read the card until I'm on the podcast, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting card, but now that the definition is read, I'm like, oh, I get it. Take it or leave it. If it resonates, that's wonderful. So the only announcements that I have is about upcoming Reiki trainings. The next Reiki Level 1 is March 11th and 12th. If you have been waiting to learn Reiki, it is over half sold out, but there's still some spots left. My courses are 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, and the full course breakdown is on my website. I will leave the link down below. You've heard me talk about this so many times, and if you are one of my Reiki students looking for level 2, there are still some spots left in the February course. So I'll also leave that linked down below. But I want to jump into this week's episode, and it is a Reiki question. And the question was, why does one Reiki practitioner's experience differ from another? And I understood this question in two ways, so I'm gonna answer it in both ways that I interpreted it. So the first way that I would think is, like, why is my Reiki experience different from when you give Reiki, different from when Sally gives Reiki, different from when John gives Reiki? And I mean, it's quite a simple answer. We are all very unique. We all have our own special ways of doing things, the way we do things. And the easiest way I can compare this is to a hairdresser. You have your hairdresser that you like, and there's somebody else that does it a little bit of a different way. Everybody has their own way, and everyone's going to work with Reiki in their own way. So some people work intuitively and kind of move around the body. Some people will work from head to toe. Some people will hover. Some people will add things to their Reiki. Some people will find they don't need to add things to their Reiki. But in the same way where, like, if we all went and played soccer, we're going to play a little bit different. If we all went swimming, we might swim a little bit different. If we all went shopping, even if we went shopping in the same store, we'd probably all pick a different outfit. That's the exact same with Reiki and all spiritual gifts, for that matter. And I even hate to call them gifts because I want to say they're abilities and they're interest, and they're something that you devote time to. So I think that's a really good way to put it. If we all went into the same store and we were told to pick a top and a bottom, we're not all going to pick the same top and bottom. That's how Reiki is. Even though we're all doing energy work, we're not all doing it the exact same way. And who you are and your energy affects it, what's going on in your life, how present you are, how much experience you've had. Obviously, practice is king, experience. And I remember when I first went to one of my mentors from a few years ago, she was so hard to get into. And when I finally got an appointment, I was blown away. And while the experience was great, I was more blown away that you could tell she has been doing energy work for over 20 years. Everything was so dialed. Every part of the experience of booking with her, her website, her wait list even, the way that she, moved through the session, how she started it, the middle, the end, how we parted ways, what she said, everything was so dialed in. And I remember being so impressed, and I was just thinking to myself, this is what 20 years in the biz looks like. And that is so different than if you go to someone who obviously took their Reiki course 6 months ago and just started accepting money. I think there's a lot of confidence that goes into this. There's a lot of factors, but that is all to say, not one person is better than somebody else, or not one person is like good or bad. I like to think about it as a hairdresser. I might like the way my hairdresser cuts my hair, but you might not like her. You might have a different hairstyle than me, so she doesn't know how to cut curly hair. She knows how to cut straight hair. Or she might not know how to cut short hair. She does really good long cuts. So Reiki is the same, which kind of leads me into the second interpretation of this, which is, why does one Reiki practitioner's experience different from another? My understanding of that was also like, why are people different? Like, why is if you came to me, you get one experience. If you come to the person who works at a spa in town, you get another experience. Why, if you go to someone else, you get another experience. And it's because of, number one, are we for you? Do you like the way we work? Do we resonate with what you're looking for? And I always think about my eyebrow lady. I have Arab hair, so I have dark hair on my face. And my eyebrows are very important. Like, they really shape my face. But like, when you find that eyebrow lady that does your eyebrows the perfect way, like, you never leave her. You're like, you are my girl forever now. And I feel like Reiki is the same, but with your energy. When you find someone that understands your energy, works with your energy well, gives you the service that you're looking for. Like, do you like touch, but someone's hovering? Well, you probably might go to someone who hovers. Do you not like touch and someone's touching you? You might want to go to someone who's hovering. There's just so many things. Like, what am I adding into my sessions? What do you like? What do you not like? So think of it as any service. So whenever people tell me like, oh yeah, I had a Reiki session, but I didn't really like it, I always think like, no, you just didn't like the person. Think of it like a hairdresser. If you got your hair cut and you didn't like your haircut, you wouldn't say like, oh, I'm never getting my hair cut again, I didn't like it. No, you would go find another hairdresser. And even though all hairdressers are taught the same, they still don't practice the same way. So Reiki is very similar. There's a lot of different ways to learn Reiki. I think a very big key is confidence. So what I would say, if you are a Reiki practitioner and you're trying to get there, there's phases, right? You're going to just have learned and you're going to be practicing. Then you're going to start exchanging. You're going to be like, okay, bring me a coffee, bring me an ice cream. And then you're like, okay, start to bring me money, $20, $40, $60, whatever it is. And then finally you're at a full price exchange. And then from there, you're at a full price exchange, you're at a 60-minute session. This is where you start to pay attention to the session and what's going on. When your guests walk in, what do they see? What do they smell? How's the room set up? How's your energy? How do you welcome them? Do you take their coat? Do you have incense going? Is there light music in the background? Do you explain to them what's happening and then they lay down? Or is it chaotic? You're not ready. They came early. You open the door and you're like, okay, well, we're going to start. And have you had Reiki before? Okay, well, I'll just tell you as we're going. And you're late, so we're going to have to sit. And, you really, really set the tone of the appointment. And that's where I find like the mastery comes, because your Reiki will be the same. But how you welcome your guest, how the guest experiences, and how you finish the session with confidence is really what makes a difference. And I can go to someone who I can tell is not very confident and they give great Reiki, but I'm just like, you should work on your customer service. Your Reiki is fine, but this is still a service. I like to think about it just like a massage. If I go to a massage place and, the room is cold, they're not playing any music, I don't like the smell of the sheets, my experience when I arrived and when I left and was paying wasn't great, I probably won't go back to that massage place. So really remember that it is customer experience, and you want to ensure that outside of the Reiki, everything that you're doing is also mindful of how the client feels. So I always think, like, how would I want to walk into a room? Well, I want the lights already dimmed. I want the music on. I want it to smell like it was just saged so that they know that the room is clean. I want to be calm. I want to be in like clothing that looks comfortable and, not super bright, just, neutrals. I want to take their coat when they walk in. I want to make sure they feel comfortable and talk to them for a few minutes, maybe ask them where they're from. I want to remind them that this is for their comfort and their relaxation. Ask them to take off their watch, have them lay down, ensure they're comfortable. Is the blanket okay? Is the temperature okay? Would you like another blanket? Is there anything I can put over your eyes for you today? Really make sure that the customer is feeling like they're being cared for, and that's all part of the Reiki. The more relaxed and comfortable they can be in my space, the better of a service I can provide. At the end of the service, I want to slowly wake them up. I want to clear them. I want to give them space. I want to give them some aftercare, let them know about their session, what they should be doing, offer maybe the washroom if they need before they go, hand them their coat, ask them if they're paying cash or card, have that whole experience, just send them the receipt. Like, I really think about every single experience from when you are meeting with me to when you leave my office. And that's the same for distance. When you confirm your appointment, is it easy to book? Do you get a confirmation email? When is your reminder email? What do I say in your reminder email so that you're prepared for your session? All of these things are forming the experience. And we can all think about the time or the person who's really hard to book with. You have to text them. They never answer until after 10 p.m., 4 days later. And it's just really hard. And yeah, they're really good, but is it worth going through all that hassle? I mean, I can think of lots of people off the top of my head that are just hard to book with that I would love to go see more, but it's just not worth the hassle of trying to get in with them. Or they don't have a website or a booking link, and I don't want to go back and forth with them of like, does Tuesday work? Oh, no. What about Wednesday? Oh, I can't Wednesday. Thursday morning? I could do Thursday night. No, that doesn't work. What about Friday after? Oh, no. Okay. I don't want to do that. I value my time, so I will not book with you if that's what I have to do. So just be very mindful that the Reiki is an experience and it is more than just when your hands are on the client. So everybody's a little bit different. Everyone's going to give Reiki differently, and everyone is going to give different customer service. And if you're wanting to stand out above the rest, start to work on your confidence and start to really focus on your customer experience from the moment they book with you. Like the second someone's on my website or they're on my Instagram or they're on my booking link, that's when my customer experience starts, and it ends all the way after the session. After they left my room, my booking system actually automatically sends an email asking for like, how was your experience, if they want to write a review, but that's all included in how they're feeling. Do I follow up with them? Do I be like, hey, how are you feeling today? Whatever you want to do, add. But that's your offering. When you go to the salon, they're going to take your coat. They're going to sit you down. They might offer if you want a coffee or a tea. They, when you're sitting there processing, they might ask you if you want more coffee or tea. Like whatever they do, you appreciate those things. So make sure you are in customer service. You are still treating your clients like that. You want them to feel comfortable. You want them to feel good in the space that they're in, especially with energy work. It's so important. So that was my 2 ways of interpreting that question. I hope at least one of them answered what the original question was. But I hope that helped, especially if you're a Reiki practitioner or even if you're not, just to help you understand why everybody is different. It's the same reason why you like certain doctors, certain physiotherapists, certain hairdressers, certain restaurants. Everyone's still cooking food, but we all do it a little bit differently. So that's my take on this topic this week. It really was a good question, and I do get asked this in different ways often. So I was like, I have to bring this to the podcast. If there is anything that you would like to see on the podcast, or if you have a good idea, please DM me on Instagram, or you can send me an email. I'm always open and interested to know what the listeners would like to hear. I also am very interested in doing more interview style, chatting style podcasts. So if you know of anyone you think would be a great fit to come on and talk about their area of expertise, please send them my way. I will leave all the links you need down below to book with me for in-person sessions or distance sessions. I am in Banff, Alberta, Canada. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate a rating and a review. Helps this podcast grow and reach more people. If you do share this with a friend or share it on your Instagram, please tag me. I always love to see it. But until next Wednesday, Middlers, when I see you in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful week. If you want to stay connected with me, I'm over at Medium in the Middle on Instagram, and that is my only account. Beware of scammers, and I'll see you next week. Bye!